Back. Now, the United Civil Society in Action is taking GroundUp and the National Lotteries Commission to court over the publishing of beneficiary details. GroundUp has published investigations into dodgy grants and looting of funds, but the UCSA is demanding that content about beneficiaries be removed. Let's now speak to GroundUp editor Nathan Gaffin, who joins us now via Skype. Thank you so much for your time, Nathan. Speak to us about the kind of content that this United Civil Society in Action wants removed, and what are their reasons?
Hi, Clement. Thanks very much, and hello, viewers. So about a third of every lottery ticket that is sold is supposed to go to good causes to help develop the country. That was the justification for the National Lottery when it came into existence about 2 decades ago. That money for good causes is distributed by the National Lotteries Commission. And we've been reporting for the past 2 years on how this money has been frequently misspent, and how a network of people and organizations with connections to the National Lotteries Commission have been misusing money meant for these good causes. So, for example, we've shown how a recipient used lottery money to buy his multi-million rand luxury house in Pretoria instead of the project it was earmarked for. We've shown how a recipient of a lottery grant used the money to buy Persian carpets and service his Porsche instead of on the project the money was earmarked for. We've also exposed how money has flowed to relatives of the COO of the National Lotteries Commission, and our projects to build care homes for elderly people, toilets for schools in Limpopo, and drug rehabilitation centers have never been completed, despite receiving tens of billions of rands. We've also shown how the National Lotteries Commission has falsely claimed that some of these projects were more complete than they actually were. So in a nutshell, we've uncovered a huge amount of incompetence and corruption. And I urge your viewers to go to our website, groundup.org.za, and to click the banner on the top, which contains all our lottery reports. They can read our reports and judge for themselves on the value of what we've been doing.
Yeah.
And although we've showed that millions of rands of public money has been spent, we suspect that we've merely uncovered a fraction of the wrongdoing, and that the rot runs deep.
So I'm looking here at what the United Civil Society in Action actually said when they wanted some of this information to be removed. In their affidavit, they quote Section 67 of the Lotteries Act, where it says information submitted in connection for any National Lottery Commission's application may not be published without a court order or beneficiary consent. So their argument is you didn't have the right, the court order or this beneficiary consent before publishing some of the detail.
So a bit more than a week ago, Mr. Sia Gentile and his organization, who you've just mentioned, filed an urgent court application against us to stop us from publishing information about the lottery grants. Now, we're a bit perplexed because we've never reported that Mr. Gentile or his organization has received lottery grants. And to be honest with you, we're wondering who he is, who his organization is, what its connection is to the lottery, and why he has any standing to bring this case. It's come out of the blue, to be honest with you. And his case is, to put it mildly, based on a very poor understanding of the law. In particular, so he takes issue with this article we published on the 25th of May. And that article lists several organizations that have received money from the lottery. And it also describes how they have failed to use their lottery grants properly. Our projects to build old age homes and drug rehabilitation centers have gone unfinished. In our research for this report, we were given a list of lottery recipients and the amount of money they received. Now, the National Lotteries Commission itself used to publish this information every year. They stopped a year or so ago, presumably because they didn't like us exposing their shenanigans. So I don't understand now why it's a problem. To be honest with you, I think Mr. Gentile either misunderstands that regulation that he's quoting. It doesn't apply to us. It applies to distributors of lottery money. Either that or that regulation is unconstitutional. The Constitution says everyone has the right of access to any information held by the state. We're publishing information that's in the public interest, that exposes corruption, and there's just no way that it can be unlawful for us to do that.
Do you think the organization has something to hide?
I don't know enough about them to answer that question. As I say, we're quite perplexed by who they are. It's come out of the blue. They held a protest against us earlier this year. We actually ran a story on the protest. But beyond that, we know nothing about them.
All right. Nathan Geffen, thank you so much for coming through and speaking to us on eNCA this morning.